Dear meditators and prospective meditators, welcome back to my channel. This is Ravi. The purpose of this channel is to provide peace to you through your meditation. So today I will tell you my experience of the 10 day. So the major thing that I saw in these 10 days are that, we have an observatory mind somewhere here and a reactive mind at the back, which keeps on talking, keeps on, reacting to different things, even if you are actually sleeping or you are not talking, you're not doing anything, even then it keeps working. And it keeps working in a very funny way, actually. That whatever thoughts you are thinking, they may be totally disconnected thoughts, but your reactive mind will just combine those thoughts and crisscross those thoughts and create all kind of weird experiences, which you also see in your dreams, by the way. When I was meditating completely, after 6 7 day, you just stop seeing any kind of dreams because there is no reactions from the mind that are coming. So that's why no dreams. Ideally, you shouldn't be seeing any dreams. If you are seeing dreams, it is basically your reactive mind creating and spinning the different kinds of thoughts together. That is all. So I was able to pinpoint exactly where the words are coming from in this reactive mind. And by the seventh or eighth day, I was able to silence this mind, and I was able to listen to even one or two. Like, even if I say hi silently, that also comes out. So, how does this reactive mind work? So what happens is, basically, let's say you get a thought in your mind. You look at something or hear something, and you get a thought it in your reactive mind. It immediately divides that thought, whether that is a good thought or a bad thought, or it is a neutral thought. If it is a neutral thought, it doesn't store that thought. But if it is a good thought or a bad thought, it immediately stores it in the mind, and the emotion for that thought is actually stored in the heart. So let's say you saw a snake, for example. Immediately the thought of fear will get stored in your heart, and that thought itself would be stored in your reactive mind, right? It has a storage space. Also, just the way when you hit a hammer on the nail, the amount of force that you put on the hammer is the amount of deep depth that the nail goes in. Similarly, your mind immediately decides actually how much deep that thought needs to be stored. So this is how the reactive mind works. So every time thought comes, it divides and then stores, divides and then stores, likes, dislikes. Even if it likes, it stores. Even if it dislikes, it stores. And then to the depth also. The level of depth also is decided by the mind. This is the reason when you are meditating, many people say that the initial part of the meditation is really tough. Yes, it is tough because these are the thoughts that you have accumulated over the life, right? So in a day, for example, at the end of the day, if you think, you will have like one or two very deep thoughts for the day, right? Similarly, in a month also, you will have one or two. So in a year also, you have one or two. So these kind of thoughts keep on accumulating, deep, 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 deep thoughts, right? And those thoughts actually come up during your 10-day meditation. So first 2 or 3 days, what happens is, it just doesn't allow you to even focus on your meditation. Those thoughts are so wild. It takes actually 3 days to even calm your mind. So the reactive mind actually reacts and stores these thoughts, and at night or whenever you are silent, it actually spins a web around these thoughts and tries to, do different wild things. That's why even you many times you're actually not able to focus on the things that you're doing, because while you are focusing on that thing, at the back of your mind different things run. These this reactive mind keeps on working and throwing you in the past or in the future, but not allowing you to be in the present. For example, you had a fight with a friend 20 years back, right? And you know he's a bad guy. That emotion is actually stored in your heart, right? So 20 years later, when you see that friend again, immediately the moment you see, a thought of hatred would evoke, right? So what happens basically? Initially, that thought hit your mind that this is that guy, and immediately the heart sends the hatred emotion. All this happens so fast that you cannot even think, and then immediately you react with a hatred reaction. So this whole cycle of a thought coming, you dividing, storing the emotion, and then later whenever this thought is actually coming up on the surface, the emotion coming, and then you reacting. This whole cycle is what keeps on going completely, continuously in your mind if you observe slowly. Another thing that has happened is that when we were born, we were provided our observatory mind and reactive mind equally, right? Which is why when you see a child, when they react to certain thing, like when they don't get a toy, they cry at that point, but they forget it immediately. But as we grow along, we keep accumulating memories and we keep reacting to things, which is why our reactive mind actually becomes very big and our observatory mind becomes very small. So, with deep meditation, what needs to happen is that we need to activate our observatory mind and make it bigger, 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 and the reactive mind smaller, 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 right? But this is a tough process. What happens is as you start observing, just keep observing the thoughts, this reactive mind activates its storage and keeps bringing up thoughts over thoughts over thoughts. What happens is every thought that comes in, you just get inside that thought and then evoke the emotion and work with that. But this is not what's supposed to happen. You're just supposed to remain observatory and let these thoughts pass by one by one by one by one. And this is how your observatory mind becomes stronger, stronger, stronger. So let's say in the example that I gave about a friend, right, that you didn't have good relationships with, the first time this emotion comes, you will react very badly. Even though you are silent, you'll be like reacting with hatred in your mind. But as this keeps happening again and again and again, and you are teaching your mind just to be observant, not to be reactive, eventually when happens like 10 times, it'll fall off. It'll start settling down, and slowly you will not have any reaction towards that thought, right? And that will pass away. After that, you will not have any bad emotion towards that friend. So this is how the whole science of brain works. In these 10 days, I was able to see that very clearly. And I observed that there are three other things that were causing problems for me. The first is fear. The second is attachment to myself. And the third is inferiority complex. These three things I could clearly observe in the thoughts that were coming to me. They were very apparent that, these were the three thoughts that were predominant, that was actually causing my mind to react and spin those webs. The first one is fear. Now, fear is of two types. One is actual fear and one is speculative fear, right? So, actual fear is, let's say, there is a snake in front of you. That is the actual fear, right? You are scared at that point. And speculative fear is you will be thinking every time that, there is a snake around you and it is scaring you, right? That is speculative fear. And it's not only about snake, it's even in about, relationships. You had a fight with a person, you'll always be thinking that you want to have. So, these speculations are actually form 99.9% of the reactions that we are doing. So I was able to clearly see that. And with observative mind, those speculative fears actually reduced a lot. Second thing is fear of attachment, and third thing is my own inferiority complex. I'll provide another example for this. For example, I recently took a position at my company, and I have a person. The first day I went into a meeting, I have a person who doesn't even know me, but reacted to me very negatively, like he didn't like me. This often happens to all of us that, we go in a situation and people don't like us without any reason, without us knowing what we did. So when that happens, what do? We start building up anger within ourselves for that person. That why he started hating us for no reason. Now, why does this happen? This happens because we want all the people to love us or like us. Anybody whom we meet, we try to, first of all, we have created the best image. When we paint the image of ourselves, we paint the best image possible and then start putting that image in everybody else. We always want to do that. And when that image is not set, then we feel upset. So that actually is a combination of attachment to oneself and also a little bit of inferiority complex. You start feeling inferiority complex because the other person starts talking in a way that they are superior. So then I started thinking, why do I need to even react? If some other person doesn't like you, it is their problem, not yours, right? There is a story in Buddha's time that, when he was teaching his teachings, a household that contained a lot of Brahmins. Now, in India, there is a Brahmin sect which is like very religious, and there were people in these Brahmin family that were actually focused on the teachings of Buddha and not performing their usual rituals and rites. And the house head of the family felt very bad because they were not following those religions and traditions. So he went to Buddha one day to scold him and then talk him out of what he's doing. And then he goes and starts yelling at Buddha and he blah 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 blah. He starts yelling. And then Buddha smiles and he says, "Dear sir, can you please tell me if you get any guests at your home ever?" He says, "Yes, but what do you have to do with that?" Then he says, "Do those guests bring gifts to you?" He says, "Yes, what do you have to do with that?" Then he says, "What do you do if you don't like the gifts that they get?" He says, "I just tell them I don't want these. You take them back with you." They take them back and go with you. And he says, "This is what I'm doing, sir. I'm returning back the gifts that you are giving me to you. Please take them back with you." So when one forms their image, a realistic image, they know themselves so well that they are not affected by the outside world. So even after meditating, I was actually having this little bit of inferiority complex and attachment to oneself is the most destructive thing. But we all have attachments to ourselves, and this causes a lot of issue. We need to reduce that a little bit. So these three things were causing a lot of problems in me, and I was able to sort these out in these 10 days, and I'll definitely keep on meditating to actually make sure that these three things don't crop up in my heart and mind again. So these were the experiences that I had. I'll be sharing more experiences, but this is also the phase 3 of the meditation that, whoever is meditating and following the technique that I am stating, the phase 3 is basically to just phase 2 was to, once you did the 100 breathings. Focus on any point in the mind. But the third phase is basically just to find out where the reactive mind is, where the words are coming from, even if you remain silent, and just focus on that part. Once you focus on that part, you'll have a burst of thoughts coming. But just be focused, just be observant, do not react to those thoughts. That way, your observatory mind will keep on becoming strong, and that's the goal of the meditation. Once your observatory mind becomes strong and strong and strong, you will come out of your reactions slowly. And you don't need to think that your observatory mind is here. You just focus on your reactive mind. Just keep seeing your reactive mind. That is it. So, this is phase three of my meditation, and this is also the last phase. And as you keep seeing the reactive mind, you'll clearly observe how a thought comes. You divide that thought, and the emotion is stored in the heart. And also try to figure out as you are looking at these thoughts why a certain thing has happened. Try to analyze why did you react to a certain thing in a certain way. That will help you come out of that. So this is it for today. Thank you all for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe this video. And may peace be with you.